After 3 weeks in Georgia, we finally made it to the capital Tbilisi. With its cobblestone old town, an impressive cathedral, and a mix of classical and super modern buildings, it was a pleasure to discover. It was also a pleasure for our palate, thanks to the variety of cuisines and restaurants it offers. We'll show you one in La Rubrica Gastronomica. So join us as we explore this interesting and varied city.
The most impressive and interesting monument we have found in Georgia so far is Chronicles of Georgia. Sitting on a hill in the northern part of Tbilisi is nothing like the commemorative monuments we are used to see. Did we like it? We absolutely did.
This super impressive and huge monument is called Chronicles of Georgia. It was designed by the same sculptor who produced the St. George sculpture, which is now in Freedom Square in Tbilisi, and who also founded MoMA in Tbilisi and designed and built the Apple of Love, which I also visited, which is right next to MoMA. This monument is around 15 minutes driving from the center of Tbilisi. Oh man, it's worth the drive here. It's impressive, it's massive. You can spend hours walking around and admiring all these beautiful sculptures. It was designed in 1981 and then they started producing it using funds from the Soviet Union. So after 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed, clearly there were no more funds. So it has now been completed apparently, but honestly, it looks wonderful to me. So I'm not sure what the original plan was and what's missing, but it's pretty stunning as it is. The main section of the monument is made up of 16 pillars. Each pillar is 35 meters high, it's pretty big, and each pillar is completely covered in sculpture. At the bottom of each pillar there is a sculpture depicting a tale from the Bible. In the middle layer you have important personalities from Georgian history, so it could be, I think, queens, kings, warriors, and all sorts of important Georgian people. And at the top layer you have scene representing Georgian traditions. It's a bit hard to really see them properly from here at 35 meters high, but you get the idea. And now, without further ado, here is Tbilisi.
The oldest buildings in Tbilisi are from the 19th centuries, so they're pretty new actually. Although Tbilisi has a very long history. Many empires and population tried to conquer Tbilisi, from Ottomans, Persians and Russians. Tbilisi actually has been destroyed and rebuilt 29 times over the history. And today the city population is around 1.5 million. It's really a mix of cultures with different influences. It's a true melting pot.
We are on the Bridge of Love.
Tbilisi means warm water. This name was given because the city indeed is on top of a land full of good water that is also healthy, and in the area there are lots of spas and bathhouses. Going to bathhouses is really part of Georgian traditions. Originally bathhouses weren't really used as spas for leisure, but were mainly used for cleansing, for cleaning the body. And here, the most iconic, I would say, of the city. It's really, really beautiful. And the entrance of the public bath. Watching the Arab mosaic.
Beautiful. Another Bridge of Love. We are now in Wright Park, which is a park close to the center of Tbilisi, and it's full of modern art pieces and very unusual buildings, like the concert hall. And we are looking for a giant piano. We heard that there is a giant piano somewhere in the park, and Alessio can't wait to play it.
And although it's giant, I can't see it. I found the piano. Let's see if I can play it.
And you can also see Mother of Georgia up there. Mother of Georgia holds a bowl of wine in one hand and the sword in the other one.
The wine to welcome friends, and the sword
To fight enemies.
yes.
I passed the test. Having a cup of coffee in our courtyard in Tbilisi. It's quite a nice courtyard. There is some shade as well, which is good. Courtyards are not actually that common in Georgia at all, but for some reason people start creating courtyards in the past in Tbilisi, and they still use them nowadays. The idea of courtyards came from caravanserai. Caravanserai were buildings along the Silk Road which were used by traders just to rest for the night, so as accommodation. And all caravanserai used to have this square in the middle, so traders could meet, chat, trade. We visited one, remember?
Yeah, it was on our way to Cappadocia.
But the courtyards in Tbilisi are definitely not square. You can see all sorts of shapes and patterns, and some have different stairs coming down. Really, really unusual, interesting places to see. So we'll try and have a quick glance at some of them as we walk around Tbilisi. Remember, there used to be courtyards in Italy as well. My grandparents used to live in a place which had a courtyard.
Oh yeah, it used to be, common, particularly in the old part of little towns. but in Milan as well, even in large cities, the typical palazzo has an internal courtyard.
Good morning, good morning.
Buongiorno.
Today we are on our way to Georgia's capital, Tbilisi. We left Burjomi, we're driving to Tbilisi, and we just stopped at the town city.
I think it's a large town.
A large town. We just stopped at a large town.
Something in between.
Called
Gori.
Gori. Why did we stop in Gori?
Because there is the Stalin Museum. Apparently, it's a fact, Stalin was born here in Gori, in Georgia. Did you know?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. But I have to make a confession. I know it may come as a shock to some, but I wasn't the biggest fan of history at school, so
Maybe not the biggest fan of Stalin.
I'm definitely not the biggest fan of Stalin. But I really want to learn more about it, so I'm glad we stopped.
Yeah.
We weren't actually sure whether we should stop because we read some reviews that said the museum is a little bit biased, so
Yeah.
it may not be the most objective. But I think it may still be interesting.
Still can be interesting, yes.
Hopefully it will be as English-speaking guide or information, and we can learn more about Stalin, tell you all about it. Here is the highlight of the museum. So we are at the museum.
Secondo me che sembra che c'è un'altra persona dietro.
So we entered the museum. We're in the museum right now. What do you think of the museum?
I didn't learn much so far.
No,
I
me
must
neither.
say, yeah. There is a list of pictures, portraits, but
Yeah, so the museum is full of pictures and some very brief description of each picture, but there is no information about history, about Stalin's life. It's just a collection of pictures, basically. We initially joined a group with an English guide, but that wasn't particularly useful either. What do you think?
yeah, she was just pointing at pictures, just a few like statues or gifts here and there, and just saying briefly what it was, but not giving really context to things. So we just left it basically after
We're just wandering
10
around.
minutes. Yeah.
Enjoying the AC because outside it's very hot, so I think we're gonna stay for a bit longer just because it's cool.
Yeah, and we'll
But-
keep relying on Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I think it may be a good place for people who already know a lot about Stalin history
that's
and
right.
just want to see like pictures and documents and other stuff.
It's more a mausoleum, something
Yeah,
like that,
it's a mausoleum.
right? With a
That's the
collection
right
of
word.
artifacts and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, I just remember one thing I learned. Just one I learned from the guide.
What? The chicken pox.
No, that Stalin's left hand was shorter than Stalin's right hand.
Yeah.
That's one thing I learned visiting this museum.
Yeah, and he kept hiding it, right?
Yeah. So in all pictures that you see of Stalin, his left hand will be either in his pocket or behind his back.
And another thing I've learned, actually, something I remember, is that in the room with all the presents, Russia gave him as a present a very heavy and big coat, but he never wore it because he always wear military uniforms.
Here you go. We learned 2 things about Stalin today. Not the most useful ones. Welcome to la rubrica gastronomica di Ale&Ela, where every week I show you some of the traditional foods and drinks of the country we're in. This week I take you to a cute family-run restaurant in Tbilisi. Enjoy!
I'm hungry. What are we eating tonight?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
So
You need to look at the menu.
Yeah. I'm taking you to a very small family-owned restaurant where they change the menu every day. I have no idea what they will have tonight. And I read that they don't speak English, so let's see. It will be a surprise.
Will you study Georgian?
I started. It will take a bit longer. So yeah, let's see what they give us. But I'm sure it will be authentic, homemade Georgian food.
Okay. Nice.
Happy?
Very happy.
Okay, let's go in.
Hello. Hey. Okay, thank you.
Here is the menu they gave us. Luckily, they gave us the one in English. Something that I really like about this menu is that the smaller glass of wine you can order is half a liter. We'll be very happy tonight.
A pint of wine.
We ordered two dishes. One is soup with beef, cooked in white wine with lots of delicious herbs and spices. And the second dish is a chicken stew with nuts. So it looks this is going to be quite a nutty stew with lots of chicken in it. Ooh, let's try it. It's definitely nutty, but not overwhelming. So it's like the right amount of nuts, I believe.
Maar ik dacht, als wij genoeg hebben voor de helft, dan moeten we...
It's sour. It's unusual because it's a sour soup. It's good. But yeah, you're right. It's not flavor you would expect from a soup.
Yeah.
Let me try the beef. Beef is really tender. Really, really tender. I like it.
Which one is your favorite?
That one, just because I generally prefer chicken to beef. But I have to admit, the soup has a much more unique taste. And what about you?
I would say probably the beef.
Here you go. We're the perfect couple then. Damn, it's promising.
It's not too bad at all.
It's good. It's really, really good. It's not too sweet, it's not too dry. It's almost perfect.
For 7 lari.
For 7 lari is perfect. A bottle of wine for 7 lari.
Yeah.
I think we should move to Georgia.
Yeah.
And to finish off our dinner, of course, cha-cha. Cha-cha or Georgian vodka, as this label says. It's a very strong liquor that Georgians drink after dinner or before dinner, we don't know, maybe the whole day. Do you want to give it a go and tell us how it is? How is it?
It's a version of grappa.
Okay,
Yeah.
is it a good or bad version of grappa?
I think it's good.
Ah,
Really good.
so is it samba? So what did you think of dinner?
Well, we spent 3 hours in the restaurant.
Yeah,
It's a sign. I like it.
I loved it.
Yeah, delicious, delicious.
and I thought it was a really nice, cozy place, nice atmosphere. We weren't rushed at all. Food
Yeah, I don't
was
know.
tasty, was homemade, simple but good.
And at the end of the meal, cha-cha battle on the
Free
table
cha-cha!
and no rush. Thanks for watching. After Tbilisi, we go back to the mountains to explore different areas of the Caucasus, do a bit more hiking, and visit a few more remote villages. We'll see you there!